Welcome back to Tinygrams Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And today I want to take a look at an archetype that is one of the most powerful, and it's called Shooting First. And basically the way this archetype works is there are several cards that will allow you to both roll your dice and then take an immediate action to resolve them. The reason this is so powerful is because the way the game is designed is I take an action, you take an action. I roll some amazing dice. Well, this gives you a chance to interrupt that, to disrupt that in some way. Maybe you turn a die. Maybe you play Comlink and roll all the dice. Well, there are certain cards that break this rule, and they are incredibly powerful. Jango Fett is probably the best of the cards that have been spoiled so far. It'll be interesting to see if another character has this ability or if other characters do. But his ability says that after an opponent activates a character, you may activate this character. Notice that this is not an action. You are just doing this outside of the action window. So your opponent activates their character, you roll Jango's dice, and then boom, you get another action, which can be resolving the dice. What I think is interesting is that this isn't on Han. This seems like the perfect character. Han shoots first. We all know the Han Greedo battle, but instead it's on Jango, which is very interesting. But let's see how this would work. One of my favorite setups is to have something like double jetpack and the DH-17 blaster pistol. The reason is because Jango has two sides with regular damage, and the blaster pistol has two sides with regular damage. So there's a pretty good chance you're going to get to go ahead and get some damage. In fact, we'll just go one jetpack and do one of the blaster rifle. Let's roll these up. So our opponent uses their guy. They roll Luke. It's a pretty decent roll. We're going to go ahead and roll Jango. There's his 5 dice. Certainly not an amazing roll. It could be a lot better. But we can immediately, if we want, resolve these 2 dice. Boom. 3 damage, automatic to somebody. Let's try again. So we roll our dice again. This time, boom, 4 damage automatically that we can do before our opponent can do anything to interrupt or to disrupt this in any way. Let's do one final roll. So far we've seen a 3 and a 4. Not that amazing, but not bad. This one totally didn't work at all. So you can see it doesn't always work, and that is what I like about the mechanic. If it always worked, it would be totally broken. But when it works amazingly well, let's look at our best case scenario. Best case scenario is 4 from Jango, 2 more from the blaster rifle, that's 6. 3 here is 9, plus 3 more is 12. That one-shots nearly every character in the game, boom, is dead. Now, as you can see, that's not the normal roll, but I can say 7 or 8 happens pretty regularly. I've had a lot of really crazy good rolls. Look at this, 3 blanks. This is kind of hilarious, but it can be incredibly powerful, and even when it doesn't work perfectly, it's pretty darn good. So right here we see another one that's 6. Having 6 damage happen just like that without being able to interrupt that at all is really, really incredible. Now, first of all, you can just build him up sort of slowly with different weapons. But another trick you can do is you can use the Sith Holocron. So there are multiple things you can do with this. One is you can use the Sith Holocron to just simply put powers on him, and that's pretty good. It's not as good because you really just want to have all range damage on him, because you can then combo that together for that one massive mega roll. Getting a free action off of a roll with just different random dice is not quite as strong. It can be good, but it's not amazing. But what you can do, in addition to just have force powers, is you put the holocron on him, it works, you switch it up, but then if you know how this works, you can overwrite these upgrades. So you put like a force choke on him, and then boom, you immediately just overwrite it with a blaster rifle. So you started with a choke, but then you were able to get that weapon on him that you wanted to. So the bottom line is, Jango is so far the best representative of this shoots first mechanic, and it can be incredibly powerful, and it's a serious blowout when it happens. But he does only have 10 health, so he's a little bit vulnerable. I know when I play Jango, I play a lot of cards with shields. I really focus on shielding this dude up as much as humanly possible, and you really need at least one pretty decent roll, or he's probably going to die before he gets his mission accomplished. Now, we do have one other example of this sort of technique with Rey, and it's not nearly as strong, But Rey can do some pretty interesting things. So let's say you have a Rey that has a lightsaber and a staff on her. Okay, so that's a fair amount of melee. She's not as amazing as Jango, but you can do this really tricky thing where when you play the holdout blaster, it has ambush actually. So what that means is you get to trigger Rey's ability when you play an upgrade, take an additional action. So I play my blaster, I get another action, but wait, it also has ambush, so I get another free action. So what you can end up doing is rolling these dice as one of your free actions, and then resolving them as the other. So for instance, wow, Rey did pretty well here. So Rey can just instantly resolve 5 melee damage as long as she has a resource. That's pretty darn strong out of Rey. With Rey, that's not really how we expect her to operate. She's more of I think of her as like the jack of all trades. You can, because she doesn't have all that reliable dice, she just does a lot of different things. She's kind of an interesting character, but you can sort of try to turn her into like a mini Jango, where she's just boom, doing 5 damage out of nowhere, 3 damage, 4 damage, which can be really strong for someone as cheap as she is. You can get 2 of her dice for 12, 1 for 9. That's still really strong. For instance, if this die wasn't here, we still roll 5 and she only costs 9. That lets us play, really strong cards with her. So she can be incredibly powerful also if you try to use this technique. It also makes her a little bit more of a target, which is a good thing. Normally, if you have Rey, another character, let's say you have 2 dice Rey, 2 dice Luke, you want them to kill Rey. Luke is a wrecking ball. If they go for Rey instead of Luke, you are cheering wildly. However, the one issue is that you only have 2 hold-up blasters. It's the only card so far spoiled that you can do this trick with. But you do have the battleground that lets you return it back to your hand. So what you can do is play it, do the trick, then end up overwriting it, and then grabbing the battlefield and getting it back. And the next turn doing the trick again. So once you get it out once, as long as you can get that battlefield, which by the way is easier with Rey getting free actions, you can start to try to loop it and cycle this and become like a mini Jango Fett. So I really think this mechanic and this archetype is going to be one that will continue as all the cards get spoiled and we move into how this game plays normally. But really, this shoots first archetype is going to be strong. Be careful. If you're playing against somebody who has a shoots first character, you gotta kill him. Right now, that's Jango. And don't kill Rey. Don't kill Rey. I'm just telling you. Don't kill Rey. She looks promising, but kill the other character almost all the time. All right, but be careful of Jango. He's a beast. Look out. I'll see you next time on Time to Grimes Games.